All right, everyone, what are we talking about today? Pretty sure you already know why you're here, right? This is some of the lesser expensive Explorer love based on the 84 Explorers, right? So, over here you've got the LTD. This is a EXP-200. This one is one of the ones that were made in Korea. And then you've got this one right here, which is the 84 Explorer reissue from Epiphone, which is the Chinese custom shop Explorer from, Gibson Epiphone, right? So if you're like me, and you wanted to get an Explorer and you don't have, north of $10,000 currently to purchase one of the MXs or one of those ESPs, because they are now discontinued and you can no longer buy them. It's been rumored that Gibson threatened to sue. I haven't seen any solid evidence of that, but then again, I haven't dug very hard, right? So if you have that, feel free to link it and comment down below. But as far as I know, it was maybe just Gibson saying they were going to sue. But if there was actual stuff, put in the courts or, threatened to be put in the courts, let me know down below. But in any case, these are the value Explorers as it relates to like an 84 Explorer. And I know Gibson just brought back the 80s Explorer, and I really would like to buy one, but probably like many of you, I'm kind of waiting for the white one. And I hear it's supposed to drop any freaking time now, and believe me, I'm excited about it, right? I got to check out one of the black ones at the local Guitar Center, and it did look very, very nice. I didn't get to play it because they have it locked up there on the wall because of it's expensive, and there's nobody to unlock the goddamn thing. So how am I supposed to play it? If I would have jammed on it and liked it, I would have bought it. But it's locked up and there's nobody to go get it. So Guitar Center, if anybody of you listen from Guitar Center, please fix that. And I understand, theft and people are just grabbing those expensive guitars and running out for them. But there's got to be some kind of happy balance in between, protecting your assets there and, of course, also allowing customers to check these things out, because there are a lot of us out there that love that 84 Explorer, mostly due to James Hetfield. And I know that's why I like it, just because you always see James with those Explorers, right? So I'm rambling at this point, but let's talk about some Explorers. So let's grab the LTD to begin with. All right, so here is the LTD. This one's pretty straightforward. It's got the LTD logo right here. This is an EXP-200, and these were made, I think in, the late 90s, somewhere in there. Surprisingly, this has a bolt-on neck, and I've actually seen the full-blown ESPs with bolt-on necks, and even seen pictures of James Hetfield himself playing with a bolt-on neck. So, I'm typically of the mindset, if I'm going to spend a whole bunch of money on a guitar, that thing better have a set neck. But this one is an exception. And I know even these ones have gone up quite a bit in price, and a lot of people are like, I ain't paying that for that guitar or whatever. Just keep in mind, these are discontinued. So it's not like you can just go buy one brand new if you want to, right? So you're kind of stuck with, some sellers are just going to be like, well, I ain't selling it for less than $2K or whatever the case may be. So you'll be stuck paying the price unless you just hold off until you find one. At this point, I don't know if you will, right? So obviously, this being an older guitar, they're kind of beat up, but we'll start from the top as I typically do. The differences between these, they're subtle, right? But at the same time, I in my opinion, and I'm not a lawyer, obviously, but in my opinion, I think they're different enough to where they shouldn't have been able to sue them for this design. Why do I say that? Well, the headstock on these, it's thicker. The cross section, right here, for example, is thicker. Has a slightly different shape. It's not far off, right? But it's different enough. The point, and we'll talk about it on the other one. Look at how thin the point is right here. The shape of everything is just a little bit different, and I'll probably pull the camera down and try to line them up just so you can kind of see. But don't be worried about this, guys. This is a fantastic neck joint. Plus, if you're playing this, you ain't playing up here. You know what I mean? You're playing down here. You know what I mean, right? So these have rosewood boards. It's not ebony. This one's a bit dry, so it could definitely darken up. But I haven't changed the strings on this yet because when I got it, the strings, I think they were brand new because they had plenty of life and they still hold tune and they sound great. So of course I'm going to change it over to the Hetfield strings because I really like them. Although they do wear out a lot faster than some of the ones I'm used to, say like a Diodario NYXL. But it is what it is, right? You got the Hetfield guitar, you got to have the Hetfield strings to go with it. Now I will say, one thing I noticed with this one in the pickup cavities is there's not a heck of a lot of room on the sides. You know, these are the EMG 81 and 85 that are the brushed black chrome, right? So they look a little bit different, but the tabs themselves, you know, I'm not going to modify the body on this guitar because, you know, it could be a valuable guitar someday, who knows. So I modified the tabs to fit. So I had to take my Dremel and kind of Dremel off the metal tabs to make the pickup fit, at least the bridge pickup. The neck pickup seemed to be okay, but the other one didn't want to slide down into the body, didn't want to play nice. As far as like the pot quality and the switch quality, all the hardware quality is all very nice. I think this is unbranded stuff, you know, but most of you guys know anything ESP or LTD. Even the LTD stuff is extremely good quality. And this one is kind of a mid-tiered one at the EXP-200. But the playability is phenomenal. And the neck is incredibly stable. I didn't even have to adjust it. And it plays really well. I think these are abalone inlays, which I thought was super cool. Either that or it's, you know, imitation abalone. But let's look at the Epiphone now. So one thing right off the bat is that this thing is probably 1 pound to 1.5 pounds heavier than that LTD that I just showed you guys. So why that is, I don't know. Is it different wood? I don't know. I didn't really look into the woods. I probably should have. But I think this one is mahogany, and I think the LTD is alder, if I remember right. You know, correct me down in the comments. The neck on this one, and I didn't show you the cross section here, is I think just a little bit thinner than, let's say, the LTD. But look at the headstock. So the headstock cross section right here is very, very thin in comparison to the LTD. That's why I'm like, man, that the headstock it's different shape. The body's different shape. Like, how could they have sued? You know, I don't know all the laws and whatever, but obviously you can see you got the typical, what are those, Grovers? Yeah, Grover tuners. So you got the typical Gibson Grover tuners set up in the USA. Gibson or Epiphone custom shop, whether that was real or not, I have no idea. But these are also very good quality guitars. Like, these are Chinese, so I was kind of hesitant to buy one. But then once I got it and set it up, it was like, whoa, this is actually a really good quality guitar. Look at the cool grains. This one's also rosewood, but it's a little bit darker. And obviously you could darken it up if you want to. This one I did oil the board, but it absorbed it, so probably just need to oil it again. But other than that, you know, like we were talking about on the LTD, look at the point here. Let me grab the LTD. So look at the points. Look how different they are. You know, it's kind of the same thing on every edge. You know, they're all just that little bit different angles, little bit different levels of pointiness, whatever the case may be. So that's why I'm just so confused on how they could be sued, because I know there has to be like a certain percentage of difference. I don't know how that translates to guitars or whatever, but every little thing is just that little bit different. But, you know, like I said, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the answers to all those questions. Back to the Epiphone. The EMGs on this one, I think these ones actually came in some of them, so I don't know if this one did or not, because obviously I bought it used. But isn't it funny, though? Look at the control layout there. They, you know, at least allegedly, you know, Gibson sued LTD or threatened to sue LTD/ESP, but then they copied their freaking control layout. That's freaking hilarious, right? The pot calling the kettle black. But other than that, same thing with this one. All the hardware is good stuff. You know, it's got really nice pots. They weren't even scratchy, and I don't know, you know, when they may have last been cleaned or whatever. This one has a set neck, though. So if you absolutely have to have that set neck, and I know how you feel because I've been, you know, considering that myself or feeling that myself for a long time, then you got to get the Epiphone. Not only that, but the Epiphones cost less money. You know, I see these at this time, you know, still under $1,000 pretty regularly, even though these are also discontinued. But very good quality guitar overall. Very stable neck. You know, I did have to make an adjustment to the LTD neck, but once I made the single adjustment, then it put the action where I like it, and everything played perfectly fine. I'd say probably the fretboard is probably a little bit better on the LTD than on the Epiphone, but again, you can't go wrong with either of these. You know, and I mentioned on the Explorer group on Facebook, for example, you know, I don't have any Gibson Explorers yet. I plan on getting them, you know, but I put my Epiphone in there. I put my LTD in there. You know, I've got one of the EXs. I've got the EX401 FM. I've got a Jackson Kelly, and I put them up there, and everybody in the group was phenomenal and said, you know, they treat it as if they were like $1 million guitars. So that was super cool of those guys. I really appreciate that. But I wanted to show, you know, you folks the nuances between these two guitars, and, you know, that they're not that much different. This one, when playing, you know, and obviously I think the pickup location probably has a little bit more to do with the tone of the pickup that you hear. But this one sounds a little bit darker. Could be the mahogany versus, I think that one's alder. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it could be as simple as the pickup location, because the closer you get it to the bridge, the brighter it's going to be. The further away you get it from the bridge, the more dark it's going to be. So this one could just be a little further away from the bridge. You know, I've got an ESP KH2, one of the bolt-on neck ones, which is from the late 90s, if I remember correctly. And the pickup, which is also an EMG 81, is right by the bridge. And guess what? That thing screams in comparison to these. When I play that and then play these, I'm like, whoa, why does it sound so muddy and dark? It's just because of the pickup location, which is very important for that. But I'm kind of rambling at this point. That does it between the comparisons. Both fantastic guitars. Don't hesitate to buy either of them. Obviously, it kind of depends on you as far as the setup goes. If you know how to set up a guitar, you can get both of these set up and playing fantastically. All right, guys, if you like my content, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you.